Realistically, game week 36 is the final week you can be playing your wildcard chip, and if you've still got it left, don't worry, I've got you covered with the ultimate team in today's video. Wasting no time and diving straight into our team, we're going to start off with the goalkeeper pairing of Petrovic and Onana. Both had doubles in game week 36. Now, I've got both on here, potentially if you've still got that bench boost chip left over. Both playing goalkeepers with a double game week. If, like I said, if you've got that bench boost chip left over, ideal kind of pairing of goalkeepers with, you know, fairly respectable doubles for both sides. I do feel like Petrovic does edge it in terms of fixtures over Onana as well. And with Manchester United being the worst defence in the league, if I was to pick a goalkeeper on the wildcard, if I just had to go for one, maybe you've not got that bench boost chip left over, I would go for Petrovic. Manchester United's defensive record is absolutely abysmal at the moment. Rock bottom for XG over the course of the season. And in terms of, you know, just the general season itself, they are right down there as well. So not a good defence to be kind of invested in. But like I said, if you've got that bench boost chip left over, then I think they're an okay pair. And he should pick up some save points and maybe a clean sheet in that double for Manchester United. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Moving on to our first defender, we're going to start off with Dan Burn. Newcastle do have, realistically, the best set of fixtures of any team left in the Premier League. Burnley this week, then a double of Brighton and Manchester United, and then on the final day, Brentford. Burnley, this could be the weekend that they do get relegated from the Premier League. Brighton as well have only had 3 wins all calendar year. They only scored 1 goal in April as well, and that was a dodgy own goal back pass, so not a very good team in terms of their creativity as well. We spoke about Manchester United's woes in front of goal and in terms of their defence, and on the final day, Brentford are safe, so realistically they have nothing to play for, so might not put up much of a test for that Newcastle inside. The thing is, Fabian Schär is the ideal player, maybe Kieran Trippier as well if we get news that he's going to be back for this week, but at the moment we're going to stick with Dan Burn. We're not going to risk any of the injured players that might potentially throw in some minutes risked. We're going to go with Dan Burn. He's very nailed at the moment with a kind of fragile and makeshift Newcastle backline that seems to pick up an injury every single week, but Dan Burn is the defender we're going to go with to start off our defence. Moving on to our next defender, it is going to be Gabriel. Now, I know what you're thinking, Arsenal don't have any doubles. Why have you picked him? Well, let me explain. They've got Bournemouth, they've got United, and they've got Everton. They're still chasing down this title as well. They are the best defence in the league for XG conceded, not only over the past 5 game weeks, but over the course of the season as well. So a very, very smart defence to be invested in, and it would not surprise me to see Arsenal keep at least 2 clean sheets. And I feel with some games where they might be hanging on for 1 or 2-0 kind of results, we might see some bonus points for the likes of Saliba and Gabriel, maybe even Raya as well if it's kind of backs against the wall, holding out for those results, those 1-0s, those 2-0s as well. We might see some increase in bonus points as well if they're making plenty of tackles, getting blocks, saves, all that stuff. So I definitely think it is worth having an Arsenal defender on your game week 36 wildcard, despite them not having a double in game week 37. Moving on to our final defender, it is going to be Gvardiol from Manchester City. I also think Kyle Walker, very, very smart kind of pickup for the Manchester City lads. Again, they're in the title race. They are second for XG conceded over the course of the season. So a very, very good defence. Very fortunate to go and get his attack in return, but it seems that way with Gvardiol, sorry. He kind of just picks up random attacking returns. I do think Kyle Walker as well is a fantastic option. They've got Wolves, Fulham, Tottenham and West Ham left, sorry. And I don't really see Manchester City dropping any points in any of those fixtures. I do expect some clean sheets as well along the way. Maybe some attacking returns come from Gvardiol as well. So let's see what happens with that one. But that does complete our back line. Moving into the midfield, we're going to go with Anthony Gordon start off. Very similar with Dan Burn. Like I said, some of the best kind of fixtures from an attacking perspective in the league coming up for Manchester United. Burnley, obviously rock down the bottom, could be relegated as well, so could be a little bit of a slapping away at Turf Moor at the weekend. Brighton, very, very poor, down there for one of the worst defences over the past 5 game weeks. Manchester United, the worst defence over the past 5 game weeks. And then, like I said, Brentford on the final day, they are pretty much null and void. The only problem with going with Anthony Gordon, he seems to favour home fixtures. Newcastle United only have 1 home fixture out of the 4 that I have just read there. It is the Brighton one, it is is in the double game week, but he does have a very consistent record at home. A lot of them are away fixtures. Maybe that comes into your play, but I still think he's a quality player to be going picking up in the game week 36 wildcard. Moving on to a man who is absolutely essential up until the end of the season. It is Cole Palmer. This is obviously being filmed before Chelsea's second game against Spurs in double game week 35. They obviously have West Ham, again one of the worst teams over the past 5 game weeks for XG conceded, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, who we spoke about a lot already, and then Bournemouth on the final day. You would imagine Cole Palmer would be a strong candidate as well for the armband in game week 37 as well. Does offer himself up as a fantastic captain option. We know what he's capable of. The second highest scoring player over the past 5 game weeks with a game yet still to play as well. So probably is going to slot into that first position for the most points scored over the past 5 game weeks. Moving on to a man that I was umming and ahhing about putting in my own team last week. I went with Phil Foden for a -4. Instead of going for this man, KDB. Obviously 2 assists for him at the weekend. He's up there. He's one of the 6 highest scoring players over the past 5 game weeks. People have been saying he's not been doing overly well recently, but you know, he's up there. He's one of the highest scoring players over the past 5 game weeks. City's fixtures are absolutely phenomenal, and with them on the title charge, I don't think KDB is going to miss too many minutes during this run and could absolutely slap. Again, offers himself up as a captaincy option in game week 37. And if we flash our minds back to around 2-3 seasons ago, when he had Wolves, I think it was in 36 or 37 game week 37, a double game week, he went and got a hat-trick in about 30 minutes. Very, very fond memories. I probably should have remembered this and actually brought him into my own team this week, but I didn't. And KDB for me is the next player that we're going to have on this wildcard. I think he edges it over Foden as well, with him obviously missing out at the weekend. We don't know why that is. Obviously, if it comes to light that it's an injury or maybe it was just something rested, then maybe Foden does become back on the menu. But at the moment, we're going to go with KDB. Completing our midfield is going to be the highest scoring player over the past 5 game weeks. It is Bruno Fernandes. Managed to pick up 2 bonus points at the weekend, despite getting 0 attacking returns. I think that shows the creativity, the influence, the kind of structure and everything that runs through Manchester United runs through Bruno Fernandes. Now, I did talk about this in my transfer targets video. I don't actually think the United fixtures on paper are the best. Crystal Palace in game week 36. Crystal Palace has obviously seen a little bit of an upturn in form in recent weeks, so it could be a little bit of a difficult place to go, Selhurst Park. Then the double is Arsenal, who are in the title race and will, you know, be looking to win the game, and Newcastle United as well. Newcastle been very much flying. That game will be hotly anticipated as well in terms of the race for European places as well. So that one could be a very, very tasty affair. And then they do play Brighton on the final day. We've obviously spoke about Brighton's kind of frailties in the video at length already, and definitely a team I think could be a strong fixture. But that double game week in 37, not looking as appealing as it did a few game weeks ago. The Arsenal fixture was always going to be difficult, but Newcastle have definitely turned a leaf over the past 5-6 game weeks, so does make it a little bit less appealing. Very similar with Palace as well. They've definitely kind of taken a little bit of their form and you know, turned around their season and ending it quite well. Hopefully they do go on to have a really good season next year, but like I'm saying, these United fixtures don't look as good as they potentially suggest on paper, so maybe just something to consider before bringing in Bruno Fernandes. Moving into our attacking line, we're going to start off with Erling Haaland. I feel he's got to be a must. Obviously, he was on the bench at the weekend, but he seems fine. Got himself a goal as well. The City fixture is really good. And if you wanted to go for maybe a safe captaincy option, he's probably the man to go for in game week 37. A guy who is absolutely essential and should be in your team, it is Alexander Isak. We've spoke about the Newcastle fixtures at length. He has got 7 goals in his past 4 home Newcastle fixtures. Obviously, the Burnley one is away, but he's still cooking, still absolutely amazing, and is in the top 5 scoring players over the past 5 game weeks as well, because this guy has been cooking. There's no other way to say it. He has been on fire, hasn't he, Alexander Isak? I think the first 2 strikers, pretty nailed. The final one, probably going to take a little bit of explanation. We're going to go with Chris Wood. Now, realistically, Forest are in a position where they need to win some games. They've got Sheffield United this week. Now, Sheffield are down. Maybe that's going to influence their performance. You know, you see it all the time when teams go down. There's kind of this transition and the pressure has just been lifted off and we see a massive result from them. That could happen this weekend, or Nottingham Forest potentially could secure or get closer to securing their Premier League survival. And I feel like if anyone's going to score, it's probably going to be Morgan Gibbs-White or Chris Wood. And at the bargain bottom price he is, he enables us to go and get some quality players into this team. 12 Premier League goals for the season as well. Very, very good numbers for a player that's gone virtually under the radar, to be honest. Aside from Sheffield United, they have Chelsea next week. Not the greatest fixture, but again, if they are in a position where they need to go and chase games, pick up points at home, that could be a vital game for them. And then on the final day of the season, if Burnley are still in it, they've got a relegation 6-pointer against Burnley. So Chris Wood, realistically, could be playing in 3 big, huge games where Forest needs somebody to go and put the ball in the back of the net. They're going to be kind of full-flowing, all-out attack football. And Chris Wood could be the man to go and secure the points. It's a rogue shout. I've not seen anyone in the FPL community suggest it, but we're going to go with it. Chris Wood is completing our Game Week 36 wildcard. Before we finish up, today's video, let's have a run through of the bench. We've obviously got Onana. We spoke about him. Son and Porro on here. Liverpool away again. Liverpool in a little bit of mixed form, so maybe you could dabble with playing Son this week, but realistically, who would you drop him for in this attacking lineup? It's a hard one to call. Son's recent performances as well haven't been up to the mark that we've been expecting of him. I think the Game Week 37 game is excellent with Burnley at home and then Manchester City. Son's got a very positive record against Manchester City as well, and then Sheffield United on the final day as well. So that's why the Spurs boys are in here for their 37, and then obviously on the final day, their 38 fixtures. And then Jared Branthwaite, Luton and Sheffield United up next for Everton. Arsenal on the final day, but you know, they've defensively been very, very solid over the past few game weeks, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them pick up another 2 clean sheets in their remaining 3 games. That was my Game Week 36 wildcard team. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments section below. If you've got any questions about your team, get them in the comments, as I will try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.